I'll ask Councilman Woods to give us the invocation.
Once again, Heavenly Father, we are gathered and assembled together, Lord, upon your name. Father God, we partake in this meeting, Lord. If these great minds come together, Lord, let us know one thing, that we do everything in your will and your power. Let us work together, Lord, to make Barberkind a better place. Father, also during this holiday season, Lord, let us not forget the reason for the season. Heavenly Father, this and all the blessings at your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, I'd like to welcome everybody here, all the city council members and mayor.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming, making time.
Absolutely.
And especially in this Christmas season, I tell you what, everybody's going in different directions. But we want to share with y'all and propose something to the city and see if we can come to maybe a joint venture together. The county has been working on several projects, one being with the lake, and we have partnered with the Lake Authority, and we've got 2 or 3 other projects going in the city limits that we think would fit really well with the city's agenda, and we'd like to share that with you. And I'm not wasting time. I'm gonna get the administrator to go ahead and jump into the presentation and see if y'all would like to join us.
Okay. As Chairman Bennettsville said, County Council early on when the Rescue Act money came into play, made a decision to set aside a large portion of that money to use for something, whatever that may be, recreation oriented, to improve the county, the community, the whole county. And from that, there have been a lot of discussion and back and forth and looking at different places in other communities, looking at different projects, and they've come up with a plan. And certainly the first priority are these phase 1 things on this list. And I'll go through this. I'm bad about having something that takes me to explaining it to understand. But the phase 1 items are the right now items that the council wants to move forward with. There's obviously, are there potentially phase 2 and phase 3 things, grander things, different ideas that may come about as the money becomes available. So if you look at this sheet that you have, that again I've made overly complicated, you can see those first 2 lines are phase 2. And then if you skip down to the first phase 1, the county is buying the golf course, the Marlboro Country Club golf course, and using $2.7 million of Rescue Act money to bring that up to speed. It's been not well maintained and different issues there, and then operate that as a public golf course for the people here to use and enjoy. So that's that one. The next one is, I think Chairman Midgley mentioned, was something to do with the Lake Authority. So I'm going to use this. And you have it in front of you. So it's the top sheet, you see the blue there. And these things that we're looking at, the pictures are renderings that will most certainly be tweaked as you go forward. I mean, it's just something that we can look at, and it represents the general idea of what's being proposed. So basically, if y'all all know the diversion dam, this is Beauty Spot Road. So this way you go to Marley, Emerson, and then this way you go to, you would be, come on in, I'll hold up a second. Spot right there, right there. I'm going right here. Well, it's okay, we want to make sure you see. Come on to the big table, Greg. Go to the big table so you can see the blue bit. This Plato getting stressed. We thought we got rid of Miss Plato, but she got to make another appearance.
Thank you.
We were just getting started. You haven't missed anything.
Okay.
Set this sheet Okay, so we're looking at the lake project and up this way is going towards Marley, Hannigan's house, Mr. Creek's house up here. This way is going back towards Hamlin Highway. Here's the diversion dam here. And then of course this is where there's a walking trail there. So the idea with this is to go along that highway. Y'all know when it's fishing season or even people walking, it's so dangerous that side of the road is so narrow, there's no space to really park or walk. So the plan is to build a boardwalk. So actually a wide wooden or composite deck, pier almost, that follows along the road and connects the walking trail with the diversion dam. And then these little, I want to call them cheats, but I don't know that's probably not appropriate. These little jut outs are little fishing piers. And that might actually get tweaked some. So folks on the fishing season, when the fish are biting, you can be there. But then people can also walk that walking trail and make that connection. Those of you who go out there know that most people just turn around and go back. That would give you that connection. Now the Lake Authority had already spent a good bit of effort to improve over here where all these trees are. If you notice, if you ride out there, they cleared all that underbrush and looked really good. So as council started talking about these plans, met with Southern Ware with the Lake Authority, and he had this thought about the boardwalk. And so it fit into what council wanted to do. And even better than that, they were in agreement, the council was in agreement to go 50-50 on this. So if you see on there, the county council has appropriated $350,000, and so has the Lake Authority. And they've done that, they voted as a done deal as far as the money and going forward, and so has the Lake Authority. The Lake Authority has formally approved that 50-50 partnership. And what it does is allow us to do something that's really nice for the citizens and not have to scramble and figure out, how to do it for the $350,000. Now, one thing I left out, I apologize, is the thought about creating a little bit of parking there, almost like the other end. Out the east side end, you got that little parking area in the center, is to fill in a little bit there, and maybe even have a spot there for a single food truck in the when people are out there. So any questions or anything, like I said, this is subject to tweaking. But
I have a question. How soon will that project be started?
as soon as we can. The money, typically, you wait on money, we're not waiting on money. They have their money, we have our money, so, and it's been approved. So the next step is to have somebody actually draw a design that you can bid off of, and, that's not gonna happen until the first of the year, probably, this week, next week or something. So, the goal of council pushing me and me pushing myself and others is to try to have something actually happen in the next 60 days.
So that would prevent people parking on the road.
Well, you would ideally not want to. Now, someone's mentioned, do you fill a little bit in so you can make parallel parking, and that's something we gotta look at.
I'm talking about down the boardwalk way. You know how everybody parks
Yeah.
on the side of the road?
Yeah, I think, one thought was that we look at it, expand it a little bit where you've got some more space to park on the side so it's safe. But to be honest with you, I ain't going out there and measure. There may be enough if you're not fishing there to park there. But that's a great question, and that's something that's got to be tweaked before we bid it out.
I have a question. I see the little pillars that you have there. What, those are for boat ramps or what? Little,
These,
just fishing over?
just little jut outs in the pier. So you're walking, by, I forgot how wide.
Okay.
So every so often. Okay, so this is 12 feet wide. So the whole thing is 12 feet wide. It's written on it, but you got to have a magnifying glass to read it. And then these are 8 by 16.
I got you.
More. So kind of like, Jack's Island is connected to a walkway, those little pieces that come out. And it may be that you don't have one down here because the people who've grown up and fished there and all that, they're not really catching any fish down here. All those things got to be tweaked. But yes, so they're little pieces that stick out. Okay? So that's that one, and that's a done deal. I mean, the Lake Authorities formally approved it. Their board, this council has formally approved it. They've given given the authority to go out and fine tune it and bid it out and all that good stuff. Okay, the next one, which we're excited about. this came about, let me kind of tell you how this came about. So what we're looking at here is in Broad Street, Doug Jennings' office is on that corner. Jim Jenkins' stuff is there, and there's King Street. There's the eye doctor, which is closed now, and there's the clinic, Campbell's Clinic. So, in all these discussions for a year or more, the thought is how do you get tourists to come to our town? How do you get people to come off 95 and stop? How do you get people to stop and spend money in our town? And then also the discussion has been how do we create amenities for people who live here? Amenities being places to eat and things to do. So, in researching all these different ideas, it became clear that the third highest car count, meaning the third highest number of cars on average per day coming through the county come down Broad Street. So 10,000 cars. So it's kind of a light bulb moment where you realize, well, we already got cars coming through here. You know, that there are plenty of them going down 95 we're not getting, but we have a tremendous amount of cars coming through here. And it's actually a headache at times. But if we could capture some of that and get those folks to stop and spend money, there is no better way to build up the businesses and all of that than actual people stopping and spending money. So what this idea is, it becomes a way of doing that. And those of you who travel, you know, or maybe pull a trailer occasionally, you know, you're looking for somewhere clean, well lit, easy to get in and out of, restrooms and something to eat. So what this plan would encompass is, first of all, trying to make an effort to get approval to extend Fayetteville Avenue, or at least use this light, because y'all know how it is. You can't always get out on the street because the traffic's backed up. So we can get in and out, coming into here, and again, this is probably get tweaked. Having some pull-through parking, so you can pull in if you're pulling a trailer or something big, and get in and out. Having a clean restroom, almost like a rest stop, a nice, you know, nice looking place with a little bit of overhang for picnic tables and all. And then down in this area, which has got to be expanded, have spots for food trucks. Now, y'all know if you start counting on your hand, if you're looking around town, there are a bunch of food trucks floating around the town. It's sort of come on us, you know, you step back and you think about it and you're like, you know, wow, we actually have a bunch of folks doing that already. So the thought will be to create those spaces. And, you know, maybe we have spaces that we have, if you're a local food truck, we draw numbers or have a lottery, and then Alan Taylor wins first place, so he gets to pick place, you know, he gets first choice. And then you have to guarantee that you're going to be there a certain amount of time, so we always know we have people there. But you create this food place that's there all the time. And, you know, you could create a nighttime place as well, which we don't have much of here other than fast food. So that would be in this general direction.
Okay.
Now, the effort here and with all these projects is to try to build on something we already have. You know, a lot of times we get excited and we say, well, let's go out Cottingham Boulevard, or let's go out wherever and build something new. And that's great. But if we can build things that'll help things we already have, like downtown's been a big effort to try to build downtown up. This would create a bookend, if you will, on that end of town that would really complement that and the things that the city has been doing and wants to do there to make things better. It's also a very short one-block walk over to the library and Ferguson and all that green space. So, you know, everybody's got little dogs now. You know, you stop and you want to walk your dog or children, you have access there. Over here in this gray area, didn't include it when we did the rendering, but the city of Bennettsville owns this corner lot right here already. And then these are held private owners that potentially could be acquired, and then you could actually do a little more. Now this guy who's done this, who actually is the guy that did some recreation plan for y'all. He likes trees and little cabbages and you know, all the cabbages and all the concrete curbing, and those of y'all who have ever done any building projects, that adds a lot of money to it, so some of that could maybe be done away with. But that's this project. And council had allocated $650,000 to that. But to do it right, it's going to be more than $1 million. So this is one of them that the council wants to ask the city to take into consideration and partnering, just like what the lake did with the county. which would be $650,000 a match. We have negotiated the purchase of the building that's there. Our county attorney is doing the final revision this afternoon to sign that, so the county will have control of that building and tear it down. Because what's wanted is something new and shiny that the people that live here can be proud of and see. I said a lot in a short period of time. Any questions on that or anything I can?
What area was the charging stations?
Good point. Mr. Strowman makes a good point. There are, and they're just put here to remind us that they didn't do a good job, but car charging, electric car charging. I mean, what was it, 2 weeks ago when you had you called me, somebody looking?
Right. They were
People
stranded.
traveling looking for those. And Sully Blair, when he was here, at the work session last week, they even travel and plot their travel based on whether they can stop and charge their car. So if you create this rest stop and you've got those stations there, you're going to draw people that way.
I think you're talking about grants that they, like Tesla has to put their charging station in.
Yeah,
So that,
I think he was saying that they may even come in and pay to put the stations in here because they make money. The way I understand it is there's a charging station over here in this parking lot. If y'all ever have anybody ask you, there's one that co-op put in, but it's slow and free. So you want to go fast? How fast you want to go? How much money you got? So Tesla will come in and put one in there. You swipe a credit card and it'll stick it. It'll juice you up quicker.
One thing about the food trucks is it pretty much spin off what y'all did, the city did. When y'all had your little food truck downtown. And it was a big success, but it was so crowded and congested. You know, you had like 4 or 5 food trucks and kids running across, the street. It was good, but we're looking at a bigger picture where kids will have to watch out for their cars and going forth and the food truck that got squeezed in. But the Fridays y'all had the food truck event, a lot of people enjoyed it.
They did.
They did.
But we didn't have a problem with the children because there was always policemen around and they had cones and signs out. But that is a concern.
That is our concern.
And this would add value.
We know when a kid can get away from a parent quick, fast, in a hurry. But anyway, that's it. What we looked at, asking y'all to help us to make it a grander stage. Food trucks out there on regular, not just on Fridays. Because I know after a football game or basketball game, the line at McDonald's and Cookout is crazy. And I say we have food so you can go in, get you something before the game. Don't have to fight. And some of the burger we go eat. No, I don't.
And not just.
I'm just saying, but it's a different flavor.
And not just food, because it's very convenient to walk over. I mean, Wells Fargo, the library, down the street, a couple of antique stores. There's an arcade that's open up.
It could be a big launching pad.
Yes.
It could be a big.
Well, that was a discussion like Councilman Wood said, is, when the money was, when we're looking at money, is can we put money in there to create incentive to help businesses start things like that? And that may still happen.
Right.
But what better way to have a business than there to be a need, with supply and demand, And I think that the need exists there. I know the need exists if you had that traffic stopping now.
And food trucks ain't going nowhere. I think they hit stay. They'll be here for a while. They'll be here for a while. And I know when we have went to Florence, I know plenty of them have went to Florence, and they got a little area that's why they got picnic tables and food trucks, and people that go out there with fans and sit down and eat and then go shopping. So I think it'd be a great launching pad for the county in 2023.
And of course,
I'm sorry. It's got the restrooms in there. Will there be a full-time person?
there definitely have to be some way to keep it from being
Yeah.
abused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just somebody that kind of hangs out there and to make sure they're clean.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because sometimes we're all guilty around here of doing something nice and new and not really running it right, and it runs down. You gotta have somebody coming in and out, going around. And depending on how it all works out, one of the reasons, big reasons is coming to y'all is, to do it right, it'd be nice to have a little space in the middle where you could have brochures or something and have somebody kind of in there. like when you stop at a rest stop.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, you,
There's always operation and maintenance with any facility open to the public.
well, one good thing about the things particularly this one and that one is, they don't need a whole lot. I mean, so they don't require, 4 or 5 people because, council I work for knows that I'll get more excited or worried about operating costs than I am upfront costs. And, that's an issue, but you definitely have to have something going on. You have to have, you couldn't leave it unattended.
No.
Okay, and we can come back to anything else. Okay, so this is another interesting one. This, I guess, if y'all, Marlboro County Council, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a real clean 50-50 need to go in money-wise to make this happen. This is a little bit of a hybrid, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So there's a desire to have an aquatics feature. Ultimately, we'd love to have a water park or something big, and Councilman Strobel has been a big advocate for that. But the phase 1 idea is to just test the water, not pun intended, and build a splash pad. So that's what that is. It looks kind of complicated, but that's basically a splash pad with a fancy cover over it. So with the county buying the golf course, this is the city of Bennettsville Community Center, as it is right now. There's no parking out front, but this is it. These are tennis courts, so y'all know where we are. And with the county buying the golf course, the county bought the property in Valley right here. So the golf course property goes almost to the community center. Again, this can be tweaked. Dr. Johnson brought up a point about having it right against here if you're having a wedding or something. So that could be over here or whatever. But the idea would be to put this close to this, because again, trying to leverage, trying to build on something we already have. Everybody uses y'all's community center. Everybody knows it's a known center. I think with some renovations, the tennis court or the pickleball, y'all heard that term. We got our new recreation director here telling me that's the big thing. All that ties together. So the money that was put in there by county council, which was $500,000, we hope to be able to build this with some restrooms. But we know that, from being in and about the community center and that kind of thing, there's probably some things that y'all might want to do as well. So the thought was maybe we go in together and package it all as one thing. So like parking out front, this is just ideas that the guys drew out. Parking out front, rehabbing the tennis courts. I don't know, maybe have these inside. But tie all this together. I left this out. This is an interesting thing. Can't tell what it is unless I tell you. And I forgot looking at it. It's a 9-hole putt-putt. So the thing they're doing in the cities is they'll have a putt-putt course, and I don't mean necessarily with a pirate or a windmill you hit the ball through, but just, it has to go turf thing. And you don't even have to really man it that much. It's very popular in the cities, and it doesn't require a lot of operating costs, but to have that in there as well. So the thought here was, if we could go in together and put our money together, then these improvements could be made all as one thing. And it ties in with the golf course. There would be a need to create a nice path from here to the golf course. So if someone wanted to walk or whatever, they could do that. And then ultimately take that path from the golf course up to the lake as well. But this one is not as, this is pretty clear cut. This is what the project is. The request for the city would be to kind of lump it all together and rehab everything and have this nice place there. Or improve on what you already have, which is nice. There are a couple other things on here I'll go real quick on. The county wants to help with image issues in the city of Bennettsville, but also in the towns. We don't want to leave behind the towns. And the towns, Clyde, McCall, and Lenham, oftentimes don't have a lot of funds. So, the city of Bennettsville has done a good job of using those CDBG grants to tear houses down and things. So the towns can also get the grants. So Clio could go get that grant, but they may not have the money for the match, because it's a 15% match to get a $500,000 grant. So county council approved as part of phase 1 to set aside enough money to match Blenheim, Clio, and McCall to to get that money and to work with them to focus on the corridors, you know, when you're coming through what you see. Because that's a big interest. I know incoming council person, Ms. Lawson, is an interest in that. Y'all do as well. And also some money that the county council has allocated to do other image issues, some of which may actually overlap with the city of Bennettsville. You know, Marshall Street and bypass. They don't look too good. Y'all, you know, there's 2 bills, one on each side. There's been an image committee that's been in existence that has the mayors of all the towns, Mayor Prince is on there, and other folks that have identified these things, and that could be brought forward and planned for this money, and then also as y'all are doing things going forward, planned into that as well. So let me talk about money real quick, because I know you're sitting there thinking, okay, well, where's that money going to come from? So, you know, the county side of the money is down on the bottom of this sheet, y'all can see right there. So this is the money we have available. We received about $5 million in ARPA money, and we spent about $1 million of that on this and that, bought an ambulance, gave combat pay bonuses to employees or whatever they call it. Y'all think y'all may have done that as well. We were able to get $2 million. Representative Hennigan and the delegation, Senator Malloy, helped us get that $2 million in the state budget to go towards these projects. The county council set aside $500,000 from their fund balance. So we've been fortunate in the last 6 or 7 years to have the appropriate level of reserve to the point that we can set aside $500,000 of that and not hurt that. And then there's some yet to be finalized, but very likely support from private foundation that operates in the county. So we have assembled this money. Of course, on the city side, I know y'all have received some ARPA money, and I don't know all the details, but I know you have some plans for that, but that may be a source to look at. We, staff and council, felt very strongly that they wanted to use that ARPA money to make a difference in something that wasn't just routine maintenance or routine, you know, fixing things we should fix anyway, and that's kind of the philosophy we had. And so I guess at this point, we're asking you all to consider participating in one or both projects and really coming together to something citizens can point at and say, you know, look, they really are doing something, because we all talk a lot and sometimes don't do much. All of us. That was a lot, Mr. Chairman, but.
Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Concerning the center, as far as the community center.
Can you speak up? We can't hear you.
Consider the center and the projects about the golf course, mini putt-putt golf. Membership fees, if you're, when an average citizen, how will funds be generated?
For the golf course, in the discussions, y'all correct me, Mr. Chairman and County Council, in the discussions, there was a lot of talk about user fees for any of the projects. And I think where council ended up is that for most of the things, you don't really want to charge those fees, because you know a lot of folks can't pay the fees. And even if you say we're going to charge the fees, you'll end up at the next council meeting decided you're not going to charge the fees. Golf is a different animal, because folks that play golf, the core group of people that play golf out there, know they pay and they're used to paying, and that's what they do. And so the plan is to not go dramatically increase the amount it costs to play, but to maybe adjust it a little bit. And then as far as young people and all go, we've got this is Mr. Darius Williams, our new recreation director, who is going to solve all our recreation problems. But there are a lot of grants available and a lot of assistance that can come in for young people, particularly with considering the financial situation and otherwise of the county. So we're hoping that money can come in and be a way to help people get into that without money out of their pocket, if that answers your question.
We're also hoping that, like years ago, we have a membership drive to get people involved like all year round, and have maybe a membership drive for the country club or the putt-putt. We're in larger cities, sometimes people might, even YMCA, they have like a gold club or silver club member. where they pay X amount of dollars up front for the family package, whatever it may be, and that way be a steady flow of money coming in. And you're right, you got a lot of people that might get into golf and I don't like it. It's too high. You know, right now we want to just get an interest because our county is starving for activities and young people. Golf is more of an individual sport. It's not like a team. A lot of our young boys and girls don't want to be with a team. They want to be individuals. So, you know, if we get an opportunity to move forward, and like I said, with Mr. Muller saying, a lot of things can be tweaked. Everything gonna have to be in stone as of right now. But once we get the interest going and get the golf course up to par, and they say, well, you know, Mom, Dad, let's join. You know, let's be a member, or let me be a member. You know, so there's a lot of things that we can look at. We want to look at anyway.
Even with the splash pad, but that should be some fees.
Exactly.
Well, we all went and looked at the facility in Thomasville, North Carolina. It was a swimming pool, and they did charge fees, but it was very nominal. You know, was it $1, $2, or $3, something like that? Just enough, but not too much.
I think
Well, a splash pad is very different from a swimming pool, and that's something, you know, younger kids, you're not talking about teenagers milling around. And given the neighborhood that the splash pad will be located, I don't see it being feasible to charge people, families or mothers with their children, a fee. And there are 2 golf clubs at the high school. There's a boys club and a girls club. So there's already,
Right.
so they exist now. So this will be more incentive. We could get sponsors and those kinds of things for them. So that already exists. And I'm not sure about the academy, but they may have some golf teams too. Or they may generate some more interest in golf.
And too many people picking up golf now at an early age, not even in high school, you know, so. But anyway, like, there's so many things that we can spend off of. But like I said, one thing, we all know that if everything is too free, you have a whole lot of, it'd be too crowded. It'd be too free. You gotta have some kind of limitations. You gotta have people come.
Well, I got a question
All right.
on this splash pad. Have y'all ever thought about moving it, not there, but down where the old football field is?
Carroll Field.
Yeah, Carroll Field in J.C. Park.
Well, I mean, in 2016, I was still on council, and there was a big push to renovate that whole area. The strategy is to try to put things together, trying to lump them together where,
But they would still be lumped right
Sorta,
there.
yeah.
And if you would put the splash pad in one of those there, keep the Carroll Field, but possibly the smaller one, you could expand that splash pad to something bigger. You've got the basketball courts right on the other side of the trees. You've got your baseball, your football, and I don't know who owns Family Swim now. If that could be renovated and made into a pool, you know. And I know the country club's got a pool too.
yeah.
But I don't know if I was having
I'm the
like
only
this
one
really
talking. Yeah,
nice
but see,
event.
everything, that's, okay, so it's like, do that, now we gotta fix this up, now we gotta fix this up, now we gotta fix this up. I think the concern is about spreading it out.
Yeah,
The good thing about a splash pad is, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that expensive. So if you got going down the road and you're like, you know, now we got another grant, now we want to rehab all of this, then you just move the splash pad. And we will own all the property from the community center back to the swimming pool at the country club, so you've got a little room to expand.
I just don't know if I was having some type of event
Yeah.
that I'd want a splash pad right there.
Yeah, I think that was a concern that came up too.
He said earlier that they will move it from that location because of the comments that came up at your meeting
It
last
could.
Tuesday. So it's not going to be that close. We don't know where it's going to be.
But one thing that somebody, I think Councilman Taylor was saying, it's all about operating costs. And if we all can truly go in on a partnership and you got people at that community center, you got maintenance custodial people there and all that, you've got people, and if the more remote it is, the more I'm concerned from operating expense. But I mean, all that's great. I mean, again, I was actually, you know, one of the ones pushing this down the hill 6 years ago? Golly, has that been that long ago?
We talked about it.
And we got the drawings back here somewhere. And I think that's a good idea, but it's just maybe for right now, we go ahead and tie.
The council identified really the lake, the community center, and the golf course being all one big thing. And that's where our big push really was, with the lake actually joining up to the backside of the golf course. And this is kind of part of that. And then we wanted to help the downtown with the RV park, I guess that's what we call it. So those are just two areas. We hadn't really focused on the family swimming girl field area.
It's a starting point.
But you make a good point. I mean, you've got that family swim. I don't know if it's beyond fixing or not, but I mean, that could be and
I mean, they've got tennis courts back there too. I just thought that would be like a really neat section with all the recreation right there.
Keep in mind it floods. We get a major hurricane or storm, that whole area, Carroll Field, Marlboro Street, Cookie Creek area. So the concern would be to put something there that wouldn't be damaged by water, standing water. So those are good ideas, but just keep that in mind about the flooding, which we can't control. Even though we're gonna clean out the creek, we still can't control the flood.
And that would be a separate project. We would have voted to go with this.
Right.
So that.
I was just
I
asking.
think Mr. Taylor's hand up there.
That's no problem. I just want to say that I think this is great. I think it's well needed. The town, county deserves this. Us working together is exactly what we need to do. The project downtown, if anybody has, gosh almighty, and it's getting that way almost year round now on the weekends, but especially during the summer, spring. Downtown, that Broad Street is backed up past Field Avenue. And that's a fantastic opportunity that all of us are missing. And this is a great step in that direction. I think it's really an exciting time for us to look into trying to work this out and see if we can do that. I am certainly going to be a proponent of trying to make this happen if possible.
So we'll put it on our agenda for our workshop in January. Okay.
I think it's certainly, we're a whole council, we gotta get everybody on board, but I'm a proponent of it. I like it, I like the idea. I wanna thank County Council and Lake Authority and everybody for inviting us to the table to work together on this. I think it's a good thing. Each project has its own positives, and I don't see very many negatives in any of it. Tweaks here and there, obviously, but that's not anything that we can't work out. Thank you for inviting me tonight. I'm not going to slip out until everybody
No, in the interest of
time,
time, yes.
My wife, I was supposed to leave 45 minutes ago. So I said, give me 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It'll be okay. But don't want you to know, I'm always available. Mayor knows this, council. I would, if you need anything I can do to help, I'll be glad to. This is an exciting thing, and I'll certainly look forward to trying to see if we can work this out. I really do. This is great. This is a good
to
thing.
hear you say that. Thank you for your support.
Sorry, y'all.
Thank you.
Please stay with me. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Take care, be safe.
Well, I don't have, do you have a question?
It's not a question, it's just, for me, I'm older than a lot of you guys, but it's been a long time since I've seen the city of Bennettsville and the county come together and work on a project, and it's a welcoming sight to see. It's nice to see us coming together. The citizens would appreciate that, and what is it worth to this county to have those type of amenities, even if it is costing us, some money that we can use other places, but what is it worth? It's saying a whole lot that we can come together with a project this huge and, come to some type of agreement. I'd like to see that.
And these projects are to a point where we can move forward pretty quickly on them. And
Let's go.
so it's not going to be all talk. If we can get together, we can move fast and have something really for the community in a relatively short time.
So Councilman, what you're saying, together we stand and divided we fall, that's what you're saying, right?
Absolutely.
So that's,
Absolutely.
that's what we're doing now.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. We're recognizing that our entire county, which encompasses the city, in crisis mode, and we as a body, a governing body, are getting together, and we're going to do some things on what we can to try to bail it out, and I like to see that.
All right, if there's no other questions, we'll
I would
just-
assume, we can talk afterward about the details, but I would assume that we can, y'all get together with Mr. Alderman and I and try to look at the details or whatever.
Yeah, we can do that, and we do workshops, so this will be the topic for our workshop in January, and we will be beginning our budget year, so I don't know where the money's coming from, but we will, it's always been my position to be very responsible with the city's resources and to provide the best services for the citizens, and this is a project that's worthy for our citizens, so,
There is a slight sense of urgency,
yes.
and so, and if I'm out of place, Chairman,
I was about to say,
kick me, is, ideally, you could figure out a way it could come out of ARPA money. That you got that.
We have, everything will be on the table, but we can't make any commitments
I understand
tonight.
that, and
What are you saying, urgent?
when I say we, I mean, we're all a team, we're ready.
Yeah, okay.
And, those are things that can be worked out into details. If there was a definite commitment and the money was coming, then maybe we can move forward with that commitment coming with your budget cycle. But with a normal budget cycle y'all start in May, which is kind of odd.
Well, we'll start the budget process in January. We're already looking at some things, so that's why I'm saying.
But if there's not certainty soon, then if the council is still pushing as hard as they're pushing, then the council would have to scale down and do a half version of this and try to scale up. So all I would ask is, maybe there can be some meetings, the staff between now and your workshop to try to have a
I'm
definite
agreeable
year.
with that, yes.
I'm not trying to push, but I am trying to push.
I understand.
I guess we're really,
There's nothing wrong with that.
we need city council to come to a really vote and decide that they're on.
Well, the point is that we have to have some discussion. We know there may be monies allocated for something that we can shift around. We can't make that decision tonight.
No, not
That's what I'm saying. So we can't make a commitment other than you hear what they're saying. We're all in agreement. So for us, it's a little more different process because of the form of government.
Well, I mean,
But you
it's not actually. I mean, it's an
you
item on
and
the
Max
agenda and you
and
vote for it and then you're rolling.
Chair, we can meet
Okay.
and discuss.
And one thing I didn't make a note on that may help you all, and this is a detail that can be talked about with this meeting, is I know that Wes had discovered and y'all have discovered a grant program. I think Mike Hanna is helping y'all with it, who's an engineering consultant through the USDA. And so for projects up to $100,000, the grant will pay for half of it. So some things that y'all maybe have set aside, there may be some money.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am.
But we have to go back and take a look at it. That's exactly what I'm
I
saying.
understand.
And there's some other monies for facilities that the RFPs are coming in. So there are different pools of money, but we're not ready tonight to say exactly.
No, I mean, I'll reiterate, I'm not asking you to
He's
approve it.
been looking at our money.
I'm not asking for anything. I guess, because I seem like, I'm excited about this, I've been involved in this as an administrator and formerly as a council member, ready. And this crowd here, who is also tight with the money, has put the money where it is. We're glad to hear support, sir.
And we're, you know what, and my thing is to make better use of the money. Because you have to look at what happened in the past to make better decisions in the future. So that's important.
Well, see.
We're gonna be very responsible with the citizens' money. So we just can't say how we're gonna do it right now, but it's there, we're gonna find
help
it.
you figure it out.
I'm real good at finding money and spending money wisely. So,
Thank y'all. From a staff perspective, thank you for listening.
All right, is there anything else? Anybody wants to add? If not, we will adjourn the meeting.